Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I welcome you all to this very special meeting that has been conducted by District 105 themed the four dimensions of Toastmasters. Before getting into the rules of the meeting, I know you all must be here after a heavy lunch. So, just as a warm up for the brain, let us have a few brain teasers. How this will work is I will be displaying questions on the screen. You will have 10 seconds to keep an answer ready with you. At the end of 10 seconds, I will display the answer and you can cross-check whether you have been able to solve it. Hope you're ready. Let's begin. The first riddle. What common English verb becomes its own past tense by rearranging its letters? Time starts now. The answer is eat. Rearrange to ate. The next one. I am four letters long. I can be seen in the sky. I am the ocean and I am the sea. What am I? Time starts now. The answer is the color blue. The third one. What ends in a W but has no end? The answer, I hope you were able to get it, a rainbow. The fourth riddle. Rearrange the following letters to make just one word. You have the letters there. What is it? Time starts now. The answer is just one word. A real brain teaser indeed. Finally, which word is the odd one out? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Time starts now. And the answer is fourth, because it is incorrectly spelled. The correct spelling is Fourth. Hope all of you have been warmed up by that. So let's get into the rules of the meeting. But first, the district mission. We build new sustainable clubs and support all clubs in achieving sustainable excellence. Moving on to the meeting rules. Please make sure that your mobiles are on silent. You never know, even if it's by accident, that your mic is turned on. Please refrain from using the taboo topics that is sex, religion, and politics. Keep your mic muted at all times and turn off your camera at all times as well. Finally, just as a way of showing encouragement, feel free to use the reactions option on your Zoom screen. That being said, to take this meeting forward, I would like to welcome our Master of Ceremony who has been a Toastmaster since 2010. She is so passionate that she has converted all her near and dear ones as Toastmasters. What brought her to Toastmasters was her interest to network, meet and greet people. During her journey in Toastmasters, she discovered skills that she didn't know she possessed. Evaluation and humor is her forte. She takes pride in mentoring clubs and young minds. On her professional front, she is the general manager at AppTech Computer Education, and on her personal front, a dotted wife of a distinguished Toastmaster and mother of a young and budding Cavalier. Let's welcome my mentor, our EMCE for the evening, the energetic, engaging, enthusiastic, distinguished Toastmaster, Nimmi Shibu.
Thank you so much, Rohit, for those kind words and warm welcome. Good evening, Toastmasters and wonderful guests. Welcome to the session, 4 Dimensions of Toastmasters. On a Friday evening, seeing an audience of this magnitude surely helps me to derive my energy. Thank you for joining us. I believe we have few guests among us. So let me first start by sharing some insights about Toastmasters. It was in 1924 that Toastmasters was founded by Dr. Ralph Smedley. It's a leading non-profit organization devoted into making effective communication a worldwide reality. It is almost a century since this organization has been helping individuals and corporates to enhance their communication and leadership skills. We have touched the lives of 4 million members and currently has over 350,000 plus members in 16,800 clubs spread over 143 countries around the world. In order to manage these huge number of clubs effectively, it has been divided into districts. There are more than 100 districts worldwide, and we belong to District 105. District 105 covers 4 countries: Jordan, Lebanon, Oman, and UAE. There are 250 clubs, approximately 5,000 members in our district alone. This district is headed by a dynamic leader who is here to share his welcome address. But before we call him on stage, I would like to draw your attention to a slight change in this evening's program. Unfortunately, our distinguished Toastmaster, Mohammed Al Isa, was unable to join us since he had a family emergency. He sends us his apologies. Instead of him, we have distinguished Toastmaster Samira Khan joining us in the panel of speakers. Before we call or put the spotlight on our district director, let me give you a little insight about his work and passion. He joined Toastmasters in 2007. What shocked me is that he joined Toastmasters to hear people speak on stage since he was uncomfortable doing that. What keeps him motivated in Toastmasters is the feeling that he can connect with so many diverse people and learn new things almost every day. He loves the idea of emptying his cup very often and filling it with new ideas, and Toastmasters allows him just to do that. After all, Toastmaster is the biggest network of people where all come together to learn and get inspired. The most evident change in him is that Toastmasters has helped him to overcome from procrastination and give him the freedom to experiment and try new things. On his professional side, he discovered his love for advertising when he was in college and has been in that profession for 25 years. He's a cricket enthusiast and during his free time loves watching movies and reading non-fiction books. He enjoys flying kite, and it gives him the feeling of a kite soaring high above everything like a free spirit. Currently, our District 105 is flying high under his guidance and leadership. Please join me in welcoming our District Director, distinguished Toastmaster Robin Anand.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Nimi, for those kind and generous words. And good afternoon to one and all from all over the place. I think we have members from our district, which is UAE, Oman, Jordan, and Lebanon, but we also have members from across the world. I see people from USA joining us. Thank you, DTM Roy Ganga, for joining us. And we also have members from Netherlands, Kenya, and many more countries. So thank you so much for joining us. And Nimi, let me thank you once again. And that was very, very generous an introduction for me. And I think I want to say something upfront here. Believe me, this is true. A lot of us in Toastmasters will never leave Toastmasters thanks to these wonderful introductions. Where else can you have such wonderful introductions? Now, this is a virtual session. Otherwise, it would be followed by a thunderous round of applause. And when you end, you again get a round of applause. So I think it's a wonderful forum. And I think the three things which we all are addicted to in Toastmasters is the applause, appreciation, and acknowledgement that we receive in Toastmasters. And I think that is what makes us stick to this wonderful forum. And that's why I think we have 4 million people whose lives have been touched by Toastmasters. Now, when I said applause, acknowledgement, and appreciation, there is a role in Toastmasters which actually defines this entire gamut of adjectives that I just said. It is a role which all the members do it in every session. It is a role where they put in a lot of time, dedication, and passion. Yes, I'm talking about the feedbacks that you receive. You receive frank and extremely constructive feedbacks about yourself. Now, I'm just saying this. Imagine if we were getting such feedbacks in our professional lives. I think the lives would have been much more simpler for all of us. But we don't do it in professional lives, but in Toastmasters, we do it. And I think that spreads out, and I think it does make a difference. I think we would love to have such feedback even in our personal lives. Now, we have a very accomplished leader today who will be sharing a lot of insights on giving feedback and accepting feedback. That will be later in the day. Today, actually, we have chosen 4 dimensions of Toastmasters. Now, these are debatable. These may or may not be the best 4, but these are the 4 we thought are very, very relevant to people who join Toastmasters. Yes, we are talking about leadership. Now, some may be wondering, who joins a forum to become a leader? We may not join a forum to become a leader directly, but I think that's what we all do in our real lives. We are leaders in corporate world. We are leaders at home. We are role models to our kids. So I think there's no harm in learning leadership. And I think in Toastmasters, when you learn things, it's all by role plays. And that's how leadership is put into a construct which is much more learnable in a forum like Toastmasters. We are also looking at impromptu speaking today and humor in addition to feedback. Now, these are the 4 main aspects that we will be talking about today. But as some of you who are Toastmasters here and some of the guests, let me tell you, we have a lot of gamut of benefits that we get in Toastmasters. In fact, the new curriculum says that we gain almost 250 competencies spread over 11 paths. And we also can learn it in multiple languages. In fact, in our district, we have almost 5 or 6 language clubs. We have Tamil, we have Malayalam, we have Hindi, and we have many other languages. That world over, I think we have officially 9 recognized languages. So it is available in so many different languages. Now, Nimi mentioned briefly about something that I love about Toastmasters, but I would define it more as a Kaizen concept. I think as Toastmasters, when we go to a session, it's a process and we make continuous small improvements in every session. And that's how over a period of time, we become better at all these skills that Toastmasters teaches us. Now, as she also mentioned, I believe that in Toastmasters, we go into every session with an empty cup, and that helps us to learn from every role play and role player. So that is something very unique in Toastmasters. Now, there are members in Toastmasters who are more than 20, 30 years old in Toastmasters, maybe even longer. It's close to 100 years since Toastmasters was formed. So we have many Toastmasters who are maybe beyond 50, 60 years of Toastmaster. Now, some people ask, why do you need to be a Toastmaster for so long? Once you learn the skills of public speaking and other subtle skills, why do you need to hang around so long? As I said, it is an addictive forum. once we get used to this wonderful positive community and this wonderful network of friends and associates, we cannot go out of it, because we get so much out of Toastmasters that it's extremely difficult for us to go out of Toastmasters. So those who are not members yet, I would invite all of you to visit any club. Now, since it's virtual, all of our 246 clubs are available to you. You can choose any club which is near you or the club that you like, and you can visit some of these clubs. And if you like them, you can join them. And now, to take the session forward, I would like to give it back to our very energetic and cheerful MC for the evening, distinguished Toastmaster Nimi. And I hope all of you today have a great time here, and you enjoy what we have to offer. Thank you so much. Nimi.
Yeah, just a minute. I'll just switch on my camera. Thank you so much for those kind words, distinguished Toastmaster Robin. Now let's get back. Your network is your net worth. All our speakers this evening truly embodies this statement. When you are a professional speaker, you are identified by your qualifications, and it has relevance only to your particular field. But when you are a good speaker or a good leader, people respect you and you have a wider range. Your network grows larger. This evening, we have 4 eminent speakers that we have are not only known to be professional in their professional arena, but they have transcended that boundary between professionalism and public education. People respect them because they have added value to everybody's lives. Collectively, these 4 speakers have influenced over thousands of people and diverse nationality. They have served as our mentors and have shown us that sky is not the limit. Today, we are fortunate. We have all of them with us, right from the international president, the brand ambassador, district Toastmaster annual contest winners, improv specialist, life coach, and our very own district director. All these leaders are here to share their learnings and show us how Toastmasters has changed the course of their life and how it will change yours. Now, distinguished Toastmaster Robin has already told us about the new educational program which Toastmasters have introduced called the Pathways. There are 5 core elements which this new curriculum talks about. The first one is public speaking. Public speaking is not just speaking on stage. It is expressing your opinion in front of others. Everybody is born with a voice, but not everybody knows how to exercise it. To reach a potential, you need to use your voice effectively. And it's Toastmasters that ensures that everyone is heard. Everyone is given a platform. And as we proceed, I will be sharing with you the other 4 core skills. Now, as we move to our speaker list, it's time to call the first speaker, who I call as a magician. Why do I say so? Because he increases people's lifespan by spreading humor and making them laugh. A man with an infectious laugh, the powerhouse behind the humor speeches. He started his Toastmasters journey in 2012. It's his diverse and dynamic network of friends that he has gathered over a period of years, which keeps him motivated to continue Toastmasters. It has opened him to a world of possibilities. Marina by profession, Toastmasters by curiosity, NLP master practitioner by training, improv coach by passion, and human at heart. He loves reminding people that it's okay to love. I would like to invite the powerhouse of energy and wit, Toastmaster Robert Devota, for his session, Tongue Tied No More.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nimi. And why did the applause stop? I was enjoying it. Anyways, now that it's stopped, I have to carry on. First of all, I wish to thank District 105 XCOM for this opportunity that they have given me to speak here on this platform. Every time I come forward and speak on any platform, especially in Toastmaster platforms, it makes me better as a person and as a speaker. So thank you very much. And I must also acknowledge that it's an honor to be on this panel amongst the other speakers. They are all esteemed speakers in their own right, DTM Murad, DTM Uma, and now DTM Samira, who has joined us. So it is a privilege for me. Thank you very much for that also. And to begin with, my title is Tongue-Tied No More. And I have a question for you, the audience. All of you, whether you are Toastmasters or non-Toastmasters, I have a question for you. Can we have the question up, please? Do you have a fear of public speaking? If you say yes, can you vote for that? And if you say no, you can say that. Whatever it is, tell the truth. Don't be on the fence. There's not going to be any naming and shaming happening today. All right, the votes are coming in and they're coming in rapidly. And it's heavily leaned towards those who say, yes, I have a fear of public speaking. And believe it or not, even I, and I'm sure my three other panelists, co-panelists also are having butterflies in the stomach about this presentation. So it's not like we, because we are here on this panel, have completely defeated our fear of public speaking. All right, now that we know that the majority of us do have a fear of public speaking, I have a second question. If you do have a fear of public speaking, do you have an even bigger fear of impromptu public speaking, especially Toastmasters? Come on. Do you have an even bigger fear of impromptu public speaking? Let's see, the votes are coming in. They're coming in very fast. And now it's even more heavily weighed towards yes, I do have a fear, a bigger fear of impromptu public speaking. All right, thank you very much for enabling that poll. It's clear. All of us have this fear about public speaking, especially when it comes to impromptu public speaking. Why do we have this fear? You'll be surprised to know that the National Institute of Mental Health, they did a study and they found that every 3 out of 4 people have this morbid fear of public speaking. And the reasons are people feel reluctant to be in front of strangers who they don't know. They think that they're going to be criticized and laughed at. Now, let me ask you another question. How many of you, when you were, say, 10 years old, had a friend or a brother or a sister or somebody who laughed at some silly mistake you did? How many of you did? If you did, just put up your hands or put it in the chat boxes. I will see your replies. Say at age 10, say at age 15, say at age 20. Maybe some of you are only 20 years old. Maybe there are some Gavaliers also in this. Yeah, there are many of us who had someone or the other at some point of time in our life laugh at our mistakes. Yes, even now. Someone says even now. Yes. So my question to you is, those people who laughed at you when you were 5 years old, or when you were 10 years old, or when you were 15 years old, are they still there beside you or behind you, still laughing at you today? I'm sure it's not the same people, right? So if we are going to be worried about every single individual who we think might criticize us, who we think might laugh at us, then there's going to be nothing that we can ever do, because we're going to be so self-occupied with that thought. You know what the thought is? You know what the reason for the thought is? It's self-centeredness. You might be surprised why I'm saying that. It's self-centeredness because you're so conscious about what people are thinking of me. Let me tell you a secret. Nobody has time to think about you as much as you think they are. Yes, everybody's caught up with their own life. Everybody's got their own things to do. Not everybody spends 24/7 thinking and laughing about another person. No. So that fear is put to rest. Now that we know the reasons why we fear, can we do something about it? Of course. That's why I'm here. I'm here to tell you that you can. Can I have the poll removed from the screen? It's still showing up on the screen. Anyways, what can we do about it? Now, even if you're a Toastmaster, the chances are, unless you choose a career of public speaking, or unless you choose a professional career as an MC for events, the chances of you being called upon to say or do something impromptu are going to be far, far more than the chances of you being called upon to deliver a prepared speech. Yes? Do you agree with me? If you do, I can let me see it in the chat box. I'm sure I can give it to you in writing that for every single one of us, the chances of us being called upon to say or do something impromptu in the spur of the moment, totally unprepared for, are going to be far more than us being called upon to deliver a rehearsed speech. If that is the case, it's even more imperative that we arm ourselves with something of how to deal with these impromptu moments, because these impromptu moments, believe it or not, some of them are going to be defining your life. Later on, you look back and think, that was a turning point in my life and I was not prepared for it at that time. But what I did and said in the moment, thank God I did and said that. Yeah. So I'm going to share with you, there are lots of tips that is taught in Toastmasters that we learn from our mentors, how to handle saying and doing things in the moment without getting into a block, into a jam, and getting a brain freeze right in front of strangers. There are ways and means of doing that. I'll share with you just 2 simple ways. All right. I'm going to start sharing my screen here. And here we go. All panelists. Am I good to go, Sharon?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. All right. So to begin with, this is a simple,
Robert,
yes?
the screen is not yet seen.
Okay. I'm sure now you can see my screen.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Perfect. Yeah.
So FAT. Now I know the words FAT do not have very positive connotations in the general opinion of people, but that's not the FAT I'm talking about today. FAT is a very simple technique that you can use to give structure to any topic that you want to handle in the moment for which you were not prepared. FAT is like, you heard the introduction that was given to our DD Robin Anand, who likes to fly kites. Now, FAT, using the technique of FAT, it's like giving structure. A structure to any topic is like the frame that you give to your kites. A kite without a frame, like I always say, it will fly, but it will fly in your face, not in the direction that you want it to fly in. So that's what FAT can do. If you follow the FAT technique, that's what it can do to any topic that you have to speak about in the moment. What is FAT? FAT is nothing but, F stands for feel, feelings. What is your feelings on the topic that is given to you, whatever the topic may be? Maybe you were just called upon to say, can you say a few words about this colleague of yours who has been with us for so many years and today he is taking voluntary retirement. Out of the blue, you are called upon to do this. And you have to express the best way to go about it is, how do you feel about that person? What is it that motivated you to work in close quarters with that person all these years? So go with your feelings first. Now, I'm not saying that if you did not like that person, you come out and say, Robert said it, just go with your feelings. Oh, thank God this person is quitting this year. I'm so relieved. I've been so vexed with this presence. No, 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 that's exactly not what I'm saying. Yes, you should be truthful, but you need not be hurtful. Yes. So F stands for your feeling about whatever the topic that is given to you. Express your feelings on the topic. A stands for, after you have expressed your feelings about the topic, A stands for anecdote. Bring back any personal story which you can connect from your life to the topic. Why a story? Because as humans, we all love listening to stories. We grew up listening to stories. All of us, I'm sure, remember the stories we heard from our grandmothers and our grandfathers. It's stories that shape our lives. So if you can remember, bring up an anecdote from your life, not from Google, not from any social media. Everybody has access to any kind of social media nowadays, that we all know every story that's floating around there. But we don't know your stories, right? So think of an anecdote, a personal story, which you can connect to your feelings on the topic. And finally, you do a tie back. What's a tie back? A tie back is where you connect your anecdote to your feelings, which you express in the beginning, and you conclude saying that this is the reason why I feel the way I do about this topic or about this person. Simple, FAT. So whatever is the topic that has been given to you. For example, like I said, if you were called upon to speak a few words about a colleague who was leaving, and out of the blue, your manager or your lead or your supervisor said, hey, Ajit, why don't you say a few words about this colleague? You worked with them for the last 1 year, and what do you say? Like I said, you can say, oh, I'm feeling so happy that I got this opportunity to say a few words, and I really did not expect that I would be called. You can say that. If it's the truth, say it. I really did not expect that I would be called to talk on this topic. And now we come to A, the personal story. What's some story that you can share about this individual who's leaving? Maybe the first time that you met this person, and you can say, I still remember that day when Suresh walked into the office and you introduced him as the new colleague for this project, and we were all looking at him. He was looking so small and nervous, and we were wondering how he would fit into our team. But I must say that over the period of this last 1 year, Suresh surprised all of us, and we had to revise our initial opinions of him. And it's been such a joy working with Suresh on this project, and we wish him all the best. And then you do the tie back. You say that, once again, I state how happy I am that I got this chance to say this about Suresh on his leaving, because of the way I felt initially when I first saw Suresh, and how over the period of 1 year, Suresh actually forced me to revise my opinion of him, and I'm grateful that I got a chance to express it. And you've done your job. You used F, A, and T. So this is a simple technique that you can use in any subject if you are called upon to deliver in the moment for something which you are totally unprepared for. All right? I'll teach you another very, very, very simple technique. It's called the 5 wives and 1 husband technique. Now, I'm not advocating, husbands out there, I'm not advocating what you think it means. It's not. Please relax. What it means is this. The 5 wives are who, what, when, where, how, why, and how. Now, the who, what, when, where, why are whatever may be the topic that has been dropped into your lap like a hot potato, and you now have to say something about it or do something with it. Who do you think is the foremost expert on this topic? Do you know something about that? Talk about it. If you don't, who is it in your circle of friends who may have some knowledge about it? Talk about that. Who do you think will be the person or persons who will be the most impacted by this topic? Talk about them. Then you come to what. What is this topic all about? What is the kind of impact this topic is going to have on you, on your job, on community, on the society? Come to when. When did you first hear about this topic? You can talk about that. When did this topic first come into public consciousness? You can talk about that, and how long it's been around. Where? When you come to where was it when you first heard about this topic? Or where did this topic originate from? Or where in the world is this subject very much discussed with and dealt with in daily life? Then you come to the why. Why is this topic relevant in today's world? Why is it that this particular topic has more weightage in a particular field compared to other things? And finally, you can talk about the how. When you come to the why, you can also make it personal by saying, why is this topic special to you? Why is it that you have something to share about this topic? And then you can come to the how. How is this topic going to make a difference in your world? How is this topic going to drive change? How is this topic going to do away with a lot of social practices and bring about change? So these are the 5 wives and the 1 husband who can help you to deal with any topic that is posed to you out of the blue, for which you had no clue it was going to come your way. You can use this technique also. So there I've explained to you the 2 simplest of techniques. There are so many other techniques also. My good friend Hashim, he talks about prep, he talks about Oreo, he talks about timeline. There are so many other techniques which, if you join Toastmasters, you will come to learn. Now, having said this, I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a while, and I'm going to ask from those who are non-Toastmasters, if any non-Toastmasters are here, please put up your names on the chat box. I'll pick up one of you, and let's have a go with any random topic posed by the rest of them. Let's see how we can handle it using these techniques that I have shared with you. Anyone? Yes, Mohan Kamath says, oh my God, 5 wives. I know. That's why I gave the disclaimer. It's not for husbands. Any non-Toastmaster here? Can I have a volunteer? Your name in the chat box. Or let me call on somebody who I don't recognize as a Toastmaster. I may be wrong. I'm not suggesting that I know every Toastmaster in District 105. Okay, there's a message. Ahmed Musa says, sorry, I just joined. I'm already in red. Okay, cool. For the sake of time, can I try? GK Lakshmi says, can I try? Fatma, okay, I'll call on Fatma. Fatma, can you, Zoom Master, can you please unmute Fatma?
I have.
Okay, Fatma, someone has already given us a topic. Fatma, are you a Toastmaster? Fatma, are you there?
She needs to unmute herself.
Fatma, can you please unmute yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Fatma. Good evening. Thank you for putting up your name
Okay,
as a volunteer.
You're welcome. This is the first time for me to enter for Toastmaster meeting.
Excellent.
I will just try. I don't promise you. If I don't know, I will tell you that I don't know.
Perfect. That's
I
the
will
best.
try.
That's the best thing to do always, to admit the truth. If you don't know, say you don't know. Don't go and act like you know it and make a fool of yourself. All right. So there's already a topic here. The topic is what makes you smile. Now I've given you 2 techniques. Which technique do you want to try? Do you want to try the 5 wives and the 1 husband, or do you want to try the FAT technique?
What's
Fatma,
the other technique?
The FAT, that is, you start off talking about how you feel about this topic. That is F, and then A is for a personal anecdote or story around this topic which you have experienced in your own life that you can share. And T is where you tie back the story and your feelings and explain why you feel the way you feel about the topic. So that is FAT.
Okay. What make me smile?
Okay, let's go with the 5 wives and 1 husband, because that gives you a lot of options. Now,
Okay.
what makes you smile is your topic. So if you were to think about the first W that I said is what? So what are some of the things that make you smile? Can you tell me?
Okay. What make me smile is when I wake up in the morning and I get up from my bed and I walk on my leg. So
All right. So
I
just
feel
being
good.
able to get up and walk makes you smile. And
Yes.
where do you do this? Normally it's in your home, in the comfort of your bedroom, right? So that becomes your
Yeah.
where.
Every day when I open my eyes and get up, and
Yes. So
yeah,
what, where, when? You do it every day.
yeah,
Yes?
every day morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we have covered what, we have covered where, we have covered when, and who. What, to whom does you waking up every day have an impact? To whom does it matter? It matters to your family?
Yeah, of course, to my kids when I
Yes.
also find them in good health. Yes,
Yes.
my kids are.
Great. And finally, the why. Why is it important that you wake up in the mornings and get up on your feet? Why?
Yeah,
Because
because this is give me yeah, this is because it's given me a positive feeling for the rest time of my day. So
great,
I
great.
yeah.
So finally, you have covered all the 5 Ws, and the one thing left is the how. Now, how is this habit of you getting up and just the very fact of standing up on your feet and it makes you smile and you know you're loved by your family and you want to do it for your children, how is that going to inspire you? How is that going to motivate you?
Yeah,
You can talk a little about that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so, yes.
This affects me if I am feeling good. I everything it will be fine during my day, my work, and my
Everything is
dealing with my
positively
kids,
impacted. So,
my studying. Yeah, every day.
so Fatma, we gave you a topic for which you were not prepared for, and in hardly a few minutes, you managed to give an answer to that. You managed to say a few things. You managed to say things that were personal, and you managed to give us all a conclusion as to what are the reasons why you feel the way you feel about the topic. How do you feel about this? You have dealt with
Yeah,
a subject that was given to you impromptu. How does it make you feel?
yeah. I feel that yeah, I can do it. I should start.
Great. Let's give her a
Okay.
huge round of virtual applause. Thank you,
I
Fatma. Thank you
just
so much.
maybe you know you know what I should work on my knowledge on enriching my knowledge by reading. I know my weakness.
You can. Everybody
Yeah,
can increase their knowledge. Thank you so much, Fatma. You can now mute yourself.
you're welcome.
So thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much. That was Fatma. And that was a live demonstration on the spot of how just these simple techniques can actually make you tackle any impromptu subject without being tongue-tied. Now, if there are any of you listeners out there who are watching this program, listening to me, who think that, okay, I've got these 2 techniques, that's it. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to join a Toastmasters club. I'll just go and start working on this, and I'm going to be the #1 impromptu speaker in the world. If there are any of you like that, you are exactly the kind of people I've been looking for a long time. I've been trying to sell my car for a while now. It's a fantastic car. It's never broken down. It's never had an accident. It's never consumed any petrol. And I've never had to spend any money on it. Of course, I've never started it for a while, but that's a different story. But you're the kind of person I'm looking for. I'm sure the panelists, the organizers will share my email details on the chat. Please get in touch with me. I have a great deal for you. I'm sure we can work out something. For all the others who are not interested in my car, I'm sure you understand that just by listening to this, what I've said today, just by that one demonstration, it doesn't mean that overnight you're going to master the art of impromptu speaking. Like one of my favorite authors, Jack Canfield, always says, getting better is a do-do thingy. It's not a CC thingy. It's not a talk thingy. It's not a read thingy. It's a do-do thingy. And how do you get to do more and more and more of impromptu speaking? Come join Toastmasters. In our regular meetings, there are so many opportunities. There is one slot which is called the table topic segment, where we invite people to come and talk impromptu on any given subject. But apart from that, there are so many other tiny, tiny moments where you will be called upon to speak a few words impromptu. And the more you do it, the better you will get at it. All right? I will leave you with this. I will just share the screen once again to leave you with one last thought on the subject of impromptu speaking, and that is, it's how you handle yourself when you're least prepared that demonstrates your leadership. It's how you handle yourself when you're least prepared that demonstrates your leadership. Remember that, dear friends. And with that, I will close my session. I once again thank District 105 ExCom. A huge thank you for this opportunity, for having delivered this presentation. Thank you so much, Nimi, for that warm introduction. I hope you keep saying it in a lot of places, even when I'm not around. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Toastmaster Robert, for sharing your tips on how to handle improv session, that is table topics in Toastmasters. I will definitely not forget the FAT technique. You know, it goes well with me. Well, the second skill that we learn in Toastmastering is honing your management skills. Management. It trains us in managing time. Toastmasters helps us to manage team, managing relationships, managing work to strike that perfect balance. Our next speaker is a dynamic personality and truly exemplifies in showcasing her management skills. She joined Toastmasters in 2001 and has taken on several leadership positions. She was the Chief Ambassador of Pathways and the Region Advisor for Region 11. She was one of the official brand ambassadors of Toastmasters International and the recipient of the President's Citation Award for Outstanding Contribution to Toastmasters International. Speaking about how Toastmasters has influenced her, it has made her bold, beautiful, both inside and outside. Our speaker is an entrepreneur, a co-founder, and a managing partner in 3 companies. She's a licensed behavioral trainer, an NLP practitioner, and a master trainer. Apart from soft skills and management training, she facilitates wellness coaching programs that focuses on positive well-being. She's also a certified emotional intelligence coach practitioner focusing on positive psychology. She is somebody who amazes us with her time, energy, dedication, and passion. Let's now put all our focus on our pride possession, my personal mentor, distinguished Toastmaster Uma Radhakrishnan, for her session, Harnessing the Power of Feedback.
Thanks, everyone. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I hope you're all doing good today. Great. It's a Friday and all set. So you must be wondering, you know, the picture that was shown on the screen and the picture that you see now is a little different. I'm open for evaluations, but later, and not on the chat as of now, right? Now, when you talk about evaluation, it's something that's very close to my heart, and I'll tell you why. Now, I cut my Toastmasters teeth in Kuwait, and when I was a newbie in Toastmasters, there was this lovely, lovely lady. Her name was Monique Jobidon, and she used to be, I used to watch her evaluate. Now, the way she used to go about it, as soon as when she's evaluating, let's say a speaker, she comes and sits right in the front, and she will be looking at you with so much awe and so much enthusiasm, waiting for whatever that comes out from her mouth, you know, and every time she used to go off time. Now, the sincerity with which she was evaluating people, she used to go over time. The thing is, I'm not advocating that you go over time, but what I'm trying to say here is, what she was trying to imbibe is that essence of Toastmasters. You know, Toastmasters, evaluation in Toastmasters, it ties in very well with our core values. If we started giving evaluations the way we sort of imbibe our core values, the evaluations, or rather the feedback, would come out really, really positively. Because in Toastmasters, we have this method of study, action, feedback. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Whatever we do in Toastmasters, it is based on study, action, and feedback. So today, now I'm going to conduct a poll to study, because I have two versions of this thing, the presentation that I'm planning to make. So I need to study how many Toastmasters in the audience and how many non-Toastmasters. So Sharon, could we have the poll up and running, please? That's a 91%, which says that they are Toastmasters. So the remaining 10% are non-Toastmasters. So let me just share my screen here with you. Good. So today we talk about harnessing the power of feedback. And there is a very popular quote which comes from our very own Dr. Ralsei Smedley. It says, "No Toastmaster club is fulfilling its obligation to members unless it brings them the maximum of training in the art of constructive criticism." Now, with all due respect to Dr. Ralsei Smedley, I don't even want to use the term criticism. It is constructive feedback. I believe that even the term criticism has got a negative connotation about it. It is constructive analysis that we are presenting out here. And to take you through the reason, why do we give feedback in the first place? And most Toastmasters are aware that we give feedback to ensure that we give our best to the speaker who's presenting, right? Now, there are two versions. Now, what's in it for me and what's in it for them? So what's in it for me as a, what shall I say, as an evaluator? So just to put it out for you there, it helps the speaker improve and it boosts their confidence. It gives them what we call a direction and as to how to go about doing it. Now, it doesn't stop there. It's not that we are just helping just the speakers. Actually speaking, evaluators get more out of this than we care to recognize. That what's in it for me is more important, because all the qualities, all the leadership qualities that a person requires, we get from evaluating. Because you are listening skills, you are processing information, you are analyzing information, and you're reflecting on it. That's how you present your case as to how the speaker can improve, which means, in essence, we are helping ourselves in the bargain. And we are developing the art of giving positive feedback. And positive feedback is what helps us grow and the others also grow. Now, I was very, very happy to hear Fatima, who gave, she's not a Toastmaster, but yet she gave a feedback to herself. And she said that I know that I have to keep on reading to enhance my knowledge. Now, how often do people do that? Looking at themselves and giving themselves feedback? Or asking for feedback for that matter. And the good thing about this is whatever we learn in that safe atmosphere of Toastmasters, it's a transferable skill. So whatever we learn here, we are able to take it to our workplace, to our homes, and both in the professional as well as the personal life, it's going to help us. So huge take home from the evaluation segment, that is. And the thing is, the minute details, when we develop our skills as an evaluator, the minute skills which we sort of don't look at, it comes up, it pops up. Because constantly you're evaluating. I'm sure that Toastmasters, 90% of the people who are out there, they would have noticed this fact. Whenever they are watching something, whenever they are, let's say, even waiting in the airport to take a trip, we are constantly evaluating, because that is the default thing that runs through us. And we are trying to see things in a better light everywhere. Yes, so moving on, there are 3 R's, what I recommend in evaluation. The first is the review aspect of it. And how do you review? Now, this is something, and this is to the 90% of the Toastmasters are out there. I noticed that not many clubs practice this, downloading the speech evaluations from Basecamp before attempting to do the evaluation in the first place. So highly recommended. This is like, what shall I say, a reminder as to how we can go about doing it. And making sure that you read the objectives and the guidelines and discuss with the speaker in terms of what their personal goals are. What is it that they are looking forward to ditching? What is it that they are looking forward to enhancing? That interaction is very, very important. And I see a lot of old clubs doing this consistently, but not necessarily the newer clubs, because what happens is over the period of time, much of it gets watered down. What we used to practice stringently when we started out Toastmastering several years ago, as we move forward, a bit of it gets watered down. So today I want to use this as a gentle reminder as to, let's go back to the grassroots level to ensure that we have all these things in place. Because interacting with the speaker makes you understand this last minute assigning of evaluators, all those will not help in improving, because this is the lifeblood of Toastmasters. If evaluation stopped, if proper evaluation stopped, Toastmasters itself could come to a halt, because this is how we learn and this is how we improve. Now, rewarding, the next R, being encouraging. It's extremely, why is it that you're evaluating them? You want them to be encouraged when they listen to you. Oh my goodness, I have to finish this and I have to make sure that I fix my date for the next session wherein I can inculcate all whatever I heard and come back. This is what has to go into the mindset of the speaker when they listen to the evaluations. It has to be motivating. So this is what I always say, don't be a brutal Ben. Now, what do I mean by brutal Ben? Huh? Speech, you call this a speech? Now, the thing is, many people, what they feel, they just say, irrespective of how it goes across. And this happens even at the workplace, even at home, and even in Toastmasters. But in Toastmasters, we learn the art of being less brutal and more encouraging. So brutal bends become a thing of the past. So let's say that even at the workplace, if you want to give feedback to a person who's consistently coming in late to work, and you don't want to say that you're not putting in good work. Instead, what would you say if you are a Toastmaster? I notice that you have been coming to work late every time. I wish you would come in on time so that we could get more work done and it would be more productive in your career. Now, which one among both did you like? I'm sure that the second one, right? So brutality, less brutality and more encouragement is what we have to look at. And, or rather, that's what we learn in Toastmasters. And this is to the 10% of the non-Toastmasters out there. Now, the next off is don't be a rerun Rosie. Now, who's a rerun Rosie? Now, I've seen this happening wherein we talk about, you know, people being consistently, what shall I say, the nagging format. So you run and you rerun whatever you have to say. That is what we refer to as a rerun Rosie. So this is to the Toastmasters out there. Now, don't rehash the speech that we have just heard, because we have already witnessed the speech. I'll give you a technique in terms of how we can put it across as to what you felt and you heard, right? Now, moving on, the third one is whitewash Willie. Now, this is a practice which we have seen. I get this, you know, slightly annoyed when I hear this, oh, that was a perfect speech. There's nothing called a perfect speech. Every speech, even if it is given by a stalwart, has to have improvement. And there would be points to improve. When people say that, I can't think of any recommendations, which means that you've not dug deep enough to look into what that person can improve upon. It's not, it has to be. So just whitewash, it's just for the walls. So these three things: don't be a brutal Ben, don't be a rerun Rosie, and don't be a whitewash Willie. So that was about the reward, and how you reward them is of extreme importance. So giving your response is important. And when I say your response, we don't collectively speak about the entire audience present. All of us have different ideas about things, right? So you are giving your opinion, your version. It's not advice that we're giving, but our observation of the same thing. And I've seen time and time again, evaluators, when they're out there, showcase all the energy on them. No, we are there to improve or motivate them, so the limelight remains with the speaker. And how do we do that? You can see it out there. Effective words to be used, and I phrases. Now, when you say that I loved it when you did this, and I liked it when you did that, you know, that comes across in a very, very, what shall I say, encouraging manner. Now, being specific and tactful, for instance, you cannot tell a speaker who has got, let's say, a tic, a nervous tic, that they have a tic. That is for one-on-one evaluation. There are two types of evaluation. One is face-to-face, where you do a one-on-one evaluation. Another is when you have it for the whole club and everybody is watching. So we have to have that respect for the individual, and that helps. That's why I said it ties in very well with the core values. If you have respect for the individual, if you exhibit integrity in the way you're doing things, it comes across because you are in service of that individual, and automatically excellence is established both from your side as well as the speaker's side. Now, look at specifics. What is it that you observed there? Now, when you say that, let's say a speaker has too much gestures, so you're saying that you were flailing your hands about too much. Rather than that, a constructive way of saying it is, if your hand gestures, I felt that the hand gestures could have been more purposeful, so that I could have understood your message more clearly. So the positivity in it, the constructive nature of it, and it comes across beautifully wherein the speaker wants to imbibe that immediately. Now, the point there about recommending and reassuring also is of essence. Why recommend? Because if you look at your the ballot sheet of Toastmasters, wherein the evaluation ballot sheet, that itself is an acronym for bringing out the star quality in evaluation. So if you look at it, the S stands for the summation, where you wrap up with the highlights of whatever the speaker had done well. The T stands for the technique, whether it was motivating, whether it was reassuring. And the A stands for the analytical skills. And finally, the 4 stands for recommendation, which means every evaluator, if they make sure they have all these 4 tied into the evaluation, they can ensure that the speaker goes away feeling good about themselves and reassured that they can do it as well. The purpose of joining Toastmasters would be fulfilled for them. And always remember to leave the speaker on a high, feeling that, yes, I can do it because I have all these people around me to support me in this venture. Now, how to respond at a meeting? If you look at the slide in front of you, I'm sure that you have heard about the sandwich approach, and you have, you know, the hamburger approach, that is wherein you have the bun on both sides and you have the fillings, which is the take home value or the recommendations that we give. But according to me, I believe that it has to be an Oreo approach. Why an Oreo approach? Because this is, you can see that Oreo right there. It's got the biscuits on either side and it's got cream-centered filling. Now, that is precisely how an evaluation should be. It is sweet on the outside, it is sweet on the inside as well. And how do we go about doing it? There are three types of Toastmasters. There would be the beginners. Let's say we can classify them as, the people who have just joined and maybe 3 months into Toastmasters. There would be the intermediate who have done, let's say, 4 to, let's say, 1 year in Toastmasters. And then there are people who have done +1 years in Toastmasters. So for the icebreakers, and the speeches that are very, very, what shall I say, novice speakers, we would give them the 3-2-3 approach. And what is a 3-2-3 approach? You would give them 3 positives, you would give them 2 recommendations, and you finish off with 3 positives. So look at that, it's a layered approach right there. Excuse me. So for an intermediate speaker, you would give them 2 positives, have the cream filling of 3 recommendations, and again 3 positives. So it's graduated because they are primed enough to receive more recommendations. As you move forward, you have there your, let's say you put in 2 years into Toastmasters, you have 2 positives, you have 4 recommendations, and again, you finish off with those positives there, 2. So 2, 4, 2. So if we practice this kind of response in Toastmasters meetings with the 3 different levels of Toastmasters that we have, it makes it easier for understanding. So I hope you like the audio approach and will practice it. So the evaluator mantra. Now this is what I was telling you about, because me being an NLP practitioner, I like to put a sensory perception on things. So the evaluator mantra, what you saw. If we plugged in these 3 things, as in what you saw, what you heard, and what you felt, every evaluation would come out looking perfect. And how, or I use the word perfect, let me use, in a sense, it would be close to perfect. So what you saw, the poise and the posture. So what is it? Which is the way that they're putting themselves out? The hand gestures, because that's what you're seeing again, the position of the hands. Because even here, when during online meetings, it's a different ballgame altogether. And we try to ensure that the physical performance matters as well, given this small frame that we are in, right? The same way, apply, adapt. What you heard, the enunciation and the voice, the quality of the voice, the variety in the voice, whether we had the pitch was right, the volume was there, the pauses and the pace, everything ties in very well. So what you heard, you can evaluate those aspects. And finally, what you felt, in the sense, the impact the speech had on you, the emotions that it took you through, and the passion that we felt while delivering the speech, while they delivered the speech, as well as the passion it invoked in the others. So once you plug all these 3 points in, which means that the final product that you put out will be an absolute take home for the speaker there. Now, moving on, they say that feedback is the breakfast of champions. Now, while I'm here, I've already asked a few people in the audience, you don't know who they are, to give me feedback in terms of how it has been going so far. Because it is important to ensure that I get my feedback as well. And that is how I learn. Because whatever the way you put it out, it's in the way you put it out, you know, it's in the way you make the others feel that is going to impact. And I'll give you a small story here. When I started out Toastmastering way back in Kuwait, I don't know whether there are any Toastmasters from Kuwait in the audience. What happened is there was, I did a couple of evaluations there, and what had happened, during one of the DTAC sessions, there was this young Filipino girl who came running to me, and she told me, ma'am, I don't know whether you remember me, but you did the evaluation of my icebreaker speech. And I did not remember then, but she said, you are the reason I stayed in Toastmasters. And I'm telling you, that is more than all the awards that you receive for doing your evaluation. Those are the words that creates the impact, because you have been a catalyst to change somebody else's life. So this is why they say feedback is the breakfast of champions. And the more we allow ourselves to feed on that, the better it is. So it's in the way you say it. And I hope that all of us from now on will ensure that they plug in those three aspects and put out the best evaluation foot forward. Thank you very much. And over to you, Nimi.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Uma, for sharing that evaluator mantra. Can I request you to kindly share your feedback for me as how I'm doing my MC role this evening? So coming to the third skill in Toastmasters, that is strategic management. Strategic management is an ongoing planning, monitoring, analysis, and assessment of all necessities and organization needs to meet its goals and objectives. Every man has a leader hidden in him. When the situation arises, you have to provide directions, and this is what Toastmasters help you to do. Our next speaker is someone who embodies this skill. He has been a Toastmaster since 1996. He was the president of Toastmasters International in 2014-15. He is the District 105 parliamentarian. He has 27 years of experience in director and CEO roles in the field of emergency medical services, HR, and strategic planning. He is retired as Lieutenant Colonel from Dubai Police after serving for 20 years. Presently, he's an entrepreneur and manages 4 companies. When I asked our next speaker to share his credentials, he told me to introduce him as a human being. That reinforces my belief that he is one of the exemplary human beings that I have met. Being a leader doesn't require a title. Please join me to welcome on screen a humble, hardworking, handsome, distinguished Toastmaster, Mohammad Murad, for his session on Life is a Leadership Opportunity.
Thank you, Nimi, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests who are non-Toastmasters. Thank you for being here, especially on a Friday afternoon where you could be somewhere else enjoying your time with family. But I'm sure that the previous 2 sessions were thought-provoking. And I hope that this session also will provoke a few thoughts in your mind into what life is all about. And once you ask yourself, what is life all about? There are so many things that come into our minds where it's important to look at life as a whole entity. But then if you look at life as a whole entity, it shows that it's a huge opportunity. For most of us, 70, 80 years of opportunity. And at the end of this journey, you go and ask yourself, what have I done? And this is where I would like you to look at what opportunity means to you. And opportunity in the bigger picture meaning. It's not about being successful in career. It's not about making money or living on an island with beaches and exotic foods. It has a much bigger meaning that we will try to explore in this session, and hopefully you will have sort of an answer at the end of the session. I am pretty sure if you have proper insight and introspection, the answer is not going to be very clear at the end of the session, and there will be a lot of reflection that will need to be done in order for you to find this answer. And isn't life all about finding answers? But for us to have this bigger opportunity get fulfilled, it's important for us to break it down into smaller ones. And it's important for us to understand that whatever actions we take in this life, they are actions to become better leaders. And I want you to think of this statement. Whatever actions you take in this life are actions to become a better leader. And if we couple this statement with saying that life is a big opportunity, then your actions are fulfilling the big opportunity through breaking down the opportunity, the big one, into smaller opportunities. And for opportunities to come into fruition for any one of us, there are certain skills that we need to have. And within these skills, you will be able to fulfill the small opportunities and go on into becoming a better leader. Now, let me take you back to Robert and Uma's sessions. The first one was impromptu speaking. And the second one was evaluation. And if we take impromptu speaking in a life perspective, you will understand that there will be many situations that will come across your path that will need you to react right then and there. And it's those sets of skills that are required for you to be able to react in the most efficient way. Any one of us could react. But are these reactions the most efficient in order for us to become better? That is one of the things that we need to look at, is being able to react to situations which have never come across us. And probably the pandemic is something that we were forced to deal with. Some of us has dealt with it in a very proactive way. And they are seeing the results in their life, and probably for many, many years to come. And there are others who have just said, I give up. I am not good in impromptu. Therefore, I cannot react right then and there. I need some time. Therefore, the time that they lose is lost opportunity. And if we do not take advantage of those small opportunities that come across us, we will not be able to have a collective, positive, efficient one at the end. Now, Uma's session is very interesting because if you reflect upon evaluation in life, how would you evaluate what you are doing? And our life is dependent on continuous evaluation, not only by others, but by ourselves, to evaluate what are we doing and are we satisfied with what we are doing. So you need to be prepared with a set of skills to react when reaction is required. And by the way, it's not if this will be required, it's when this will be required. So we should not let our guards down and say that maybe this will not happen, so we do not need to be prepared. But continuous evaluation will reinforce the set of skills that are required. Because if you evaluate yourself every period of time, that is when you will understand where your skill is lacking a bit, where you are strong in some things and you need to develop some other things, or probably become more stronger in the things that you are good at. And it's so dynamic that if you have this perspective in your life, there are different frequencies that you will be working on at different times of your life. And I refer you to David Hawkins, who talks about frequencies and the people working on different frequencies, going from the very negative to the utmost frequency, which is 700 to 1000, which he says is the most frequency that your brain could work on. But those 700s are people like the Dalai Lama and those who have installed so much of opportunities for others and so much of goodwill in their lives. And those are the people that I'm talking about whenever we say life is a big opportunity. They have gone across the same circumstances that anyone goes through. It's about perspective, which will make a difference. So different people work in different frequencies. And if we have continuous feedback onto how we are doing, and we get feedback from the people who are close to us, that's the time that you will understand how much of difference you could make from the opportunity that you have in your life. And it's interesting to look at how much difference you can make by looking at your circle of influence. Stephen Covey talks about the circle of influence, and he says your circle of influence is the people that you know. But once you look at your opportunities, you will understand that your circle of influence could become bigger and bigger and bigger. Therefore, your opportunities becoming even bigger. Now, one thing that I have learned in Toastmasters, and probably many of my colleagues here have learned, is that it's not possible to have better opportunities. It's not possible for us to develop unless we develop others with us. And probably this is why Uma, Robert had spent some time into sharing experience, because they believe that their circle of influence is increasing. Even if we have one person here who has not been in the circle of influence of the speakers, that's more than enough, because you build upon it in order for you to have the opportunity of becoming a better leader. Now, there are three things that I would like to put into your perspective that would make opportunities brighter. It is more highlighted, and you will be able to focus more on the opportunities that might appeal to you more, and therefore work on them and make them as those small bricks that are built one by one into making this whole wall of opportunity that we call our lives. Now, the first element is passion. And if I ask the audience, what is your utmost passion? And you will probably have so many different answers. You don't have to answer anything, by the way, in this session, because it needs to be inward first. So you need to ask yourself, what is your utmost passion? And this is the first P out of the 3 Ps that I would like to talk to you about. And once you have identified it, and probably some of us spend quite some time into looking into what is this utmost passion, and some people don't even think about it until the later stages of life. For me, I had a passion in the beginning of my career, and that was becoming a police officer. And I did fulfill my passion because I went into training, and I believe that I was very successful into increasing my circle of influence at the end of my career in the police by influencing so many people. My circle of influence at the end of my police career was the whole city of Dubai. Why? Because as I progressed into taking opportunities in the police and taking different roles, I had the opportunity, fortunate enough, to run the ambulance department. Therefore, I was running the emergency medical services for the whole city of Dubai. Therefore, my circle of influence was the whole city of Dubai, saving lives in the whole city of Dubai. But along the way, I understood that this is a big passion. Not being a police officer, it got focused, like being able to do the best I can in the emergency medical services. Now, it's okay for you to have a passion for a certain period of time, and then your passion could change. And this is probably what happened to me also. I came to a point that prompted me saying that you have done what you can in your circle of influence, therefore it's time for you to move on. And this is probably why I retired from the police and I went into business, and the passion of training, passion of changing lives came into my perspective. And I'm pursuing it till now. Probably I'll be pursuing it till the end of my life. So P number 1 is passion. P number 2, practice. And Toastmasters gives us a wonderful opportunity for us to practice leadership, which is life in my perspective and in my definition. So Toastmasters actually teaches you how to live life through practice. And let me tell those people of young age that are in the audience, I believe that ones who are seasoned will understand, would have understood this a long time ago. Nothing comes for free. I repeat, nothing comes for free. And practice is what you have to pay, is in place of the money that you have to pay in order to gain good leadership. Once you practice, more and more opportunities come to you. Therefore, more and more of life experience you are exposed to. And if you do that, more and more, your circle of influence becomes bigger. And that is what life is all about. So passion, practice, and P number 3, perseverance. There are many people who practice and practice and practice and give up. And that is where the opportunity stops. It's important for us to understand that we are practicing life at every stage of our life. But once you get tired of practice, there is no more perseverance, there is no more persistence. And this is where you stop becoming a leader. So it's very simple, but it's very difficult to sustain. Have your passion in your vision, in your focus all the time. Practice, practice, practice in any opportunity that you get, because that is a life opportunity. Persevere, persist in whatever you do, because that will get you to bigger heights. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster Murad. It's now time to bring on our next esteemed speaker. Today, we need to applaud her, for she has joined us this panel at a very short notice. In the words of Dr. Ralph Smedley, we learn best in the moments of enjoyment. Our next speaker will show us how. She joined Toastmasters in the year 2010 and is a champion who has represented District 105 in World Championship of Public Speaking. She is also a humorous speaker who has many feathers in her cap. She has recently started taking the stage as a stand-up comedian. And today, she will share with us her tips on why humor is so important in our daily lives. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for the extremely tantalizing, talented, towering personality, Distinguished Toastmaster Samira Khan, for her session, The Power of Humor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session. It's a bit impromptu, so I don't have any presentations. I hope that's okay. All right, so why humor is important? I tweaked it a bit to why humor is important in your speeches. All right. Well, why is humor important in your speeches? If you can give me some ideas on the chat box, why you think humor is important in your speeches. Let's start with that. For me, humor is important because I think it will keep your audience engaged. Yes, connect to the audience. Very well done. It breaks the ice. Yes, exactly. Attention. It keeps your audience in your palm throughout your speech. If you have some sprinkles of humor throughout your speech, all right? It engages, it keeps the audience alive, it livens up your speech, it lightens up your speech. Plenty of reasons. But the number one reason, according to me, is the world is already way too serious. All right. Why should we add to all the seriousness that's happening around? Let's lighten up, let's liven up. And let's do that through our speech, not only in our crafted speeches that we present in front of the others, even in our own lives. All right. So today I will be sharing with you 3 simple techniques in which you can induce humor, even in your Toastmaster speeches. Yeah, too much seriousness is killing Toastmaster Hamza. Yes. 3 techniques that I will be sharing with you is the first one, self-deprecating. Why self-deprecating? Let's hear from you. Why do you think you should put yourself down in front of people? What does that tell you about your personality? Yes, makes you more humble. Okay. And it won't hurt others. It won't hurt. It makes you more human. Exactly. It makes you more human, a very likable person. All right. Now, I am very good at self-deprecating jokes because I'm a very negative person. Negativity runs in my family. I'm so negative that the only thing positive about me is my blood group. All right. Now, I want you to think about your own personality. What annoys people about you? Or what are you bad at? Let's hear some things, some self-deprecating jokes about yourself on the chat box. I don't know if the chats are accessible to all so that everybody can have a good laugh. Your laugh is too loud. Mine or yours, Robert? I speak a lot on my ex. Donkeys sing better than me. Fantastic. I'm a social outcast because I'm a mix of two countries. Beautiful. You are bald. Oh my goodness. My hairline is like a notch display of Apple phone. I make a joke, but I have to tell that I made a joke. Wow, good one, good one. All right, see, making fun of yourself is easy. I forget so much that I'm lucky to even remember my name. Good one, good one. I'm too serious that people get shocked when I joke. Good one, Khulud. All right, so you see, self-deprecating jokes are easy. Just look at yourself, your own personality, and you can come up with jokes. All right. Now the second one is called twist. Twist. Married people will agree with me. Our life is so full of twist. I have been married for 13 years. Yes, I have been in love with the same man for the last 13 years. If my husband ever finds out, he's going to kill me. That's an example of a twist. Okay. Now, my family is also very conservative. I met my husband in a very traditional way, indiamatrimony.com. That's another example. Now, I want you to complete this line of twist for me on the chat box. Okay. He is so clever. You have to complete that with a twist. He is so clever. He is so clever to marry me. He is so clever that even he cannot understand what he says. He's so clever, he made me clever. He is so clever, but he's not my husband. Wow. You see that? The second part of the statement is unpredictable by the audience. That makes the humor effective. The unpredictable, the unexpected part of the twist makes the humor great. Now, humor can, the twist can also be of multiple parts. Okay. Now, happiness is having a large, loving family on the other side of the city. You see, there were two parts in that twist. It can have three parts as well, three-part twist. For example, the ring was beyond sparkling, beyond brilliant, beyond my budget. That's a three-part twist. Okay. Now, he's so clever that he can fool anybody. Good one. Good one, everyone. Thank you for attempting. So that's my second technique for you. The first one was self-deprecating. The second one was twist. Okay. The third one is something that we all love in our tall tale contest, and that is exaggeration. What is exaggeration? Blowing things out of proportion. In UAE, it gets so hot during July and August, egg can become a boiled egg. All right, even hens lay hard-boiled eggs. Those are your exaggeration. All right, I can see the twists are still continuing. Thank you, DTMGG. All right, the couple, this is exaggeration now, okay? Even cars are melting yet. It gets so hot that even cars are melting, yes. I want you to complete this exaggeration for me. His house was so huge. Complete the second part. His house was so huge. Complete the second part with an exaggeration. His house was so huge, the world could fit in. All the city fits in. We can take a tour in COVID-19. Wow, he can't afford to keep it clean. Even a dinosaur can fit in. He needs to catch a flight to go from one room to the other. His house was bigger than his ego. My goodness, look at you guys are already pro at this. His house is so big he can't pay the tax. Good one. His house was so big he keeps ship in his bathroom. His house was so big that even cars drove inside. He has to take the government's permission to move around. Look at you all going at it. Amazing. His heart was bigger than his house. Ooh, good one. He needs Google Map inside. All the Toastmasters could fit in. Great, great. Okay. His IQ was so less. This is the second one. His IQ was so less. His house was so huge that it had its own zip code. Good one. His IQ was so less. It needed a microscope. His IQ was so less that the letter I was missing in the IQ. We need to give him IQ drips. Oh my God, this is massive. I need a bigger screen to look at what you guys are writing. His IQ was so less that for him 1 + 1 was 11. His IQ was so less that he forgot his wife's name. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, now the couple were so thin. I really hope this chat is, everybody is able to see this chat. Moderator, if you can open up, that will be great, because it's wonderful what everybody is writing. His IQ was so less that he couldn't figure out what the Q stands for. All right, the last one, what I said, the couple were so thin. I have one more for you to complete the self-deprecating joke. Yeah, one more. Even rats could outsmart him. Oh my God. The couple were so thin that they always flew when the wind blew. The couple were so thin that the Dubai sandstorm would blow them away. Brilliant. Okay, the last one is a self-deprecating joke. Okay, I have such a bad memory that many of us here have bad memories. I am master at it. In fact, I was entrusted with planning my own surprise birthday party. That's a self-deprecating joke, but not that it's so bad, but it's an exaggerated self-deprecating joke. I have such a bad memory. Go on, folks. I don't remember what I ate. Okay, I can't remember when I was born. Who am I? I forget my wife's birthday. I leave important things. The only thing I remember is that I have a bad memory. Great. So I forget my key at home. Wow, wow, wow. You guys are awesome. Okay, so the 3 simple techniques that we learned today is self-deprecating, twists, and exaggeration. Okay, now the last thing I want to share with you is some do's and don'ts about humor. The first thing is, if you don't find it funny, the chances are the audience will not. Don't induce humor in your speech just because someone else found it funny, someone told you so. So make sure you have humor in your speech that you find funny. The jokes are still coming in. It's amazing. I opened the lunchbox to find where I am in the office. Good one, good one. Okay, so the first one, if you don't find it funny, the audience will not find it funny. Okay, the second one, keep it simple and short. KISS concept. Okay, you see, long, complicated stories and unfamiliar words in your anecdotes, it will kill the humor. Okay, the KISS concept, keep it short and simple. Now, how you can add humor to your speech? First, finish your script and then see where you can add your humor. That's one way to go about it. Now, rehearse your lines very well. The outcome of your humor depends upon how smoothly you're able to deliver it. right? Like DTM Muhammad Murad has already mentioned, practice, practice, practice. That's the best way to make your humor effective. Don't give it away. Okay, just before you crack your joke, don't be like, okay, let me tell you a joke. Let me tell you a funny story. That kills the humor. Give away the punch and you will see the result in front of you. And most importantly, believe in your script. Believe in your joke. If you believe in it, it will work for sure. Eye contact. When you are giving out your punchline, look into the eyes of the audience. That is very effective to make your humor work. And finally, a very, very important thing, attempt it. Attempt it fearlessly, be self-confident, have that self-esteem. You know, like again, Ditya Muhammad Murad has mentioned, perseverance and persistence. Don't give up, attempt it. That is the best way you can find out. I absolutely did not know that I could make people laugh until 10 years ago when I attempted my first speech in humorous contest. And I was really amazed that people actually laughed at my joke. So you will never know until and unless you try, okay? And finally, after you try all this, if nothing happens, if the audience don't laugh, it's fine. Continue as if nothing happened, because no story, there is no guarantee that it will work. It's fine. But the most important thing is to try it, attempt it. Only then you will know. I hope you enjoyed the session. This was very impromptu. I hope you had some valuable takeaways. Over to you, Nimi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Samira Khan. That was a cracker. Well, now comes the fifth core skill which Toastmaster helps, and that is building confidence. Toastmasters help us to build your confidence and face those umpteen difficult situations in life. This has been true for me. This has been a journey, Toastmasters, where I have discovered the strength I didn't know I possess. I found my voice. I got the courage to come on stage, stand on stage, and deliver the message. I have found friends who are now considered like my family. By the way, I have discovered that Toastmasters helps in building the foundation for a successful married life. Married for 16 years, we have been members of the same club for almost 10 years now. And I can vouch that my husband is happily married. So all of us present here have derived energy, inspiration, and enthusiasm from our esteemed speakers and who have spoken today. Toastmaster programs embodies the universal concept of Ubuntu. I am because we are. We not only achieve personal growth, but we also inspire others to take this journey of self-awareness and self-growth along with us. As per Ubuntu, you don't progress alone. We carry others along. In Toastmasters, we believe that progress is not singular, it is plural. I know with all that you have heard today, you will be surely having some questions from our esteemed speakers. Next on the agenda is a panel discussion. Before I bid goodbye to you all, I would like to thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. To moderate the panel, we have a member who started his Toastmasters journey in 2007. He is joining us from Oman. He was a founder member of his corporate club and adores the Toastmaster program because he has seen how it has transformed lives of members. Toastmasters has helped him to grow as a servant leader, being able to walk the talk and use core values to lead a life of integrity. Professionally, he is heading the organization development for a very large automobile group, and he is an executive coach. Let's now welcome District 105 Club Road Director, Program Quality Director-elect, double distinguished Toastmaster Gurbinder Pun for the panel moderation.
Thank you, Nimi. It's a pleasure to be here. Can I have all the panelists join me on the screen and this and also the timer, if you could join us. All right. So they say a wise man speaks because he has something to say, and a fool speaks because he has to say something. So all the wise men have spoken, and now it has been handed over to me, so you can put me where you want to put me in the right frame. Robert is very happy. Robert will talk afterwards. It was a quick few questions. We have limited time, so I will not take away too much of the time from the people. While Uma was giving so much of valuable advice about feedback is the breakfast of champions, I was having my breakfast on the side. And I'm sure many of us are hungry to go back to our tables and do that. So let me start my first question with Mohammad Murad. Mohammad, you've been in this Toastmasters for a very, very long time, and you've been leading till the highest levels of the leadership in this organization. If I may ask you, what have you seen in the corporate communications? What has changed in the last 5 years? And what do you see or predict is going to change in the corporate communication in the next 5 years?
Well, let me start with the end first. Definitely corporate communication has changed through this pandemic. And Toastmasters has changed drastically. And I'm glad that online was paved much before the pandemic hit, and I'm sure there are changes that have happened even after the pandemic from a perspective of Toastmasters. But corporate communication, I believe there is a mix of face-to-face and online right now. And there are many times that I am asked the question, what do you prefer, face-to-face or online? In my perspective, from a corporate point of view, it's important to have a mix of both. To have face-to-face, but at the same time, because corporations are becoming bigger, there is globalization that is happening in the multinationals and so on. So there is a need for online also. But in my opinion, the basics are the basics and cannot change. And probably this is what Toastmasters International teaches us, is that you need to have the basics. So you need to have the skills to communicate. Whether it's impromptu speaking, like Robert talked about, or if it's public speaking in front of people, these are not going to change no matter what the means of communications are. These are going to stay. And it's important for us to stay the course into teaching people that the basics are the means to success, not the tools that we use in order to communicate.
Thank you. Very, very aptly said. The more things change, the more they remain the same. So the basics will remain the same for sure. Thank you for bringing your if I may ask Uma another question on the science of feedback. Personal question, how do you give feedback to your spouse? And this might help a few of us in the group.
Actually, Gurvinder, we don't. You don't. I've been married for 33 years now, and I'm savvy enough to ensure that it is always in the way of a suggestion. So let's say, it's always in a futuristic manner, future-paced, that is. So let's say that I don't particularly like the color of a shirt that he has picked up. So I would give him that, think how good you will look in blue. I'm sure your wife mentioned that to you as well, because I see you in different turbans all the time, colored turbans. But on a serious note, Gurvinder, the thing is, wherever there is respect, and this is a core value in Toastmasters also, wherever there is respect, it will come out the right way, because you are speaking to the heart. You know, it's not the intellect that rules it. So speak from the heart and respect the individual. Everything will fall into place.
Thank you. Perfect. The values definitely build in the feelings, the emotions, and that is taken well by everybody.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Uma. Robert, if I might ask you, you spoke about impromptu speaking and you told us a lot about how to speak impromptu. Let me flip the side of it. What is the role of listening in impromptu speaking?
Thank you, DTM Gurvinder. That's a very, very good question. The role of listening in impromptu speaking. What is impromptu, or let me put it this way. How do you excel or how do you get better in any situation where you have to say or do something in the moment is only if you have been paying attention to what was being said or done in the first place. If you had not been paying attention to what was being said or done, then you would be ill prepared in that moment when the ball was suddenly dropped in your plate and you had to either say or act and do something. So listening as a skill is right up there, number one. If you want to be prepared to respond, as DTM Murad said, and not react, then you have to pay the price of being in the moment, giving it all your attention and listening with your heart, as Uma said. Then you are better prepared to face those deliveries as they come to you, to put it in the terms of playing cricket. If you're not in the moment, you're going to get bowled. Back to you.
So listening is the first thing before you speak. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let me ask Samira a very interesting question. We learn best in the moments of enjoyment, right? And you took us through a very laughter session, and you took us on exaggerations, and we saw a funny side of communication. Now that's very good as well as we are in Toastmasters or we are with a family. Now I go to my board meeting and I have to make a presentation and I start being funny. So what do you see? How can humor be used effectively in formal corporate communications? Have you tried that sometimes, or do you have any suggestions on that?
In formal corporate communications, humor plays an important role, but according to situation. Now, if an employee is coming to me with some personal problems for a loan or for a health issue or for some challenges at workplace, I cannot crack jokes at that time. Believe me, I would want to, but I keep myself under control. All right. But when it is a presentation about our company to a set of potential customers, yes, I try and crack a joke about the place where we are in, or about the city where we are in, or about the dress code that day, something like that. Again, it depends upon the situation, but in corporate communication, humor helps you get connected with the audience. And you see, corporate presentations are boring. Let's be honest. So when you start with a joke, it shows that more humane side of you, and people are more interested to listen to you, what your company has to offer, what are your products and services. So that's my take. It depends upon the situation.
Yeah, perfect. And I think humor does play an immense role in diffusing sometimes stressful situations, and we can move forward much more effectively. Thank you. So those were my questions to you, and I have one question to all of you. It is the same question for all of you, and you can speak in any order that you would choose to. This session we are today having is more for guests, so that they can understand what is Toastmasters and how they can be. So suppose today somebody is starting his journey as a Toastmaster. What is one piece of advice that you would give to the person who's starting his journey in Toastmasters today? Anybody can speak in any order, or let me ask to make it easier. Let's have DTM Murad first.
Well, I guess the answer goes for everyone, not only in Toastmasters, because I believe that Toastmasters is a reflection of life. So whatever we do in Toastmasters, it will reflect whatever we can do in real life. And it's very simple. Work hard and be aware of how fast or slow you are developing. Because nothing comes for free, but it's important for us to monitor ourselves into whether we are in the right environment, in the right organization for us to reach wherever we want to reach.
Thank you, Murad. DTM Uma, you have to unmute yourself.
I like the question because what I do whenever I bring in someone to Toastmasters is I always tell them, don't be a bystander. You know, the moment it's like swimming, you want to learn swimming, it doesn't help you if you stand, next to the pool and say that, okay, if I put my right hand out and then my left hand out, I would be swimming. No, you have to jump into the water. Then only you start swimming. So experience it, jump right in, and then you see how you fare. Because you're only limited by the excuses that we make.
Thank you. DTM Robert.
Thank you, DTM Gurbinder. I'm not a DTM, just a TM, but I like it when you say that. It sounds so good from your lips. Very good question. For me, the one advice that I will give anybody who's stepping into Toastmasters today is keep your heart softened. People might wonder what kind of advice is that. When I say keep your heart softened, when you enter into a club, now every club is like a family, and every family has its own culture, has its own traditions, has its own rituals. Over a period of time, we as Toastmasters, we tend to get so enmeshed into the culture and rituals of a club that we get hardened in our ways. We get hardened in our beliefs. And when we see something new, something different happening elsewhere, we cannot take it. But then what happens is, sometimes there's something new that's actually of much more benefit in a changed world, which we refuse to acknowledge because we have hardened ourselves into a set of rituals and actions. So my advice to anyone who is stepping as a Toastmaster today into any club, keep your heart soft so that you will always be open to learn and accept new knowledge that's coming from so many different directions. Back to you.
The 5 wives today, so thank you. Samira.
What I have to say is very much related to what DTM Uma and Toastmaster Robert has mentioned. When we have guests in our club, I usually ask them, can you attend at least 18 out of the 24 meetings that we have in a year? Then you join. Because I have seen so many members in our club, they join, they attend the first and second meeting out of excitement, and then they start making excuses that I cannot come, I have work-related issue, and that just the relationship starts getting tattered from there. So attending club meetings regularly is number one. Participation is the second one. Even if it is timer, table topic master, anything small, let them start off with something small. The third one is I always see, I see guests who are very, very interested in becoming great speakers. They're not interested in roles like timer or evaluator or word master. I love these roles. They want the stage time. So the third thing I want to tell is listen well, like the Toastmaster Robert has mentioned, keep your heart open, listen well, and that's when you can become a great speaker, not just only when you are on the stage. You become a great speaker even while listening to the others. That's my take.
Thank you so much, DTM Murad, DTM Uma, DTM Samira, and Toastmaster Robert. You have shared not only the 4 dimensions of Toastmasters, but you have given valuable advice to the people who are looking at joining Toastmasters. To all of the guests who are in the group today, if you want to know more about Toastmasters, please type in your email in the chat and we will send you all the information. Somebody will contact you, or please contact the person who invited you today to join this session. They will give you more information about how you can become a member of this world's finest organization in leadership and communication. Let me take this opportunity now to thank all the people who've helped us put together this show today, starting from our district leader, District Toastmaster Robin Anand, our district director, our master of ceremony today, Nimi Shibu, our timer, Anup Wadwani, Rohit Kumar, and the Zoom master, Sharon Kurvilla, the district PR team who sent this information to every single person across the district, and all those lovely Toastmasters who are attending these sessions. Let me also thank my wife for not disturbing me for last 2 hours. And I will need to go out now and wash the dishes. Sorry, not wash the dishes, but do some other useful, productive work. So thank you, everybody. We had a great afternoon. Let me sign off this session and see you back sometime soon. Welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.